The first flag was one of the stars and bars. That was the one with the 3 stripes and the 7 stars in the corner. That we've got the first one from Fort Sumter up there. And that's the one that was the first national Confederate flag, and that looked too much like the U.S. flag in battle. So then they changed it to the second national flag, which was foolish, because that one was mostly a solid white flag with a little thing in the corner. But like in the battle, if the wind blew and it got wound around the pole, it looked like a flag of truce. It was about then that General Beauregard came up with the square battle flag that we know today. But the third national flag was started because of that second that looked too much like a white flag of truce. And that's when they put the red stripe on the end of it. And that one was used a very short time at the end of the war, less than a year. The stars represented each Confederate state. And originally, like in the first national Confederate flag, there were only 7. The Confederate flag everybody's used to seeing, that really was a battle flag that would not have flown on buildings. It was for battles. The cross was from one of the early battles in Europe. Of course, you'd have been put in jail if you dealt with it right after the war during Reconstruction. But then, as soon as museums and all started, they were very desirable because they did represent the history of the people.
It seems to be portrayed as a racism thing now for people. A lot of people who wave the flag now are like mad ignorant, sorry about it, because they're the racist ones, quite honestly. They're the type of people, like my high school banned the Confederate flag, like you can't wear it at school. And that's because those were the kids like wearing it and then being like, oh, you're black or you're just not white.
It never really was about racism. It never had anything to do with it. But for the fact that yes, now it has turned into a racism thing is, honestly, in my opinion, very pathetic. People have to find an excuse to hate. Americans died on American soil, and that flag represents it.
An important part of our history. Listen, just like the Nazis took the swastika, you know, it was the Hindus first, and that represents the ultimate, most beautiful, peaceful part of the Hindu culture. I think it definitely bears a place, but I wouldn't want to fly it over my daughter's school.
Unfortunately, later on, the Ku Klux Klan did more harm to the Confederacy than any other group because they used the flag in the wrong way. And they're the ones that hurt the truth of what the flag had stood for and made it a negative thing, and they still do it today. And we've tried, our organization has tried and tried to make them stop, and they will not. But that hurts places like our museum that have the real things for you to look at yourself and make your own decision.
I don't really feel that it should be flown because now it's, again, more of a racist point of view, and it's degrading sometimes. No, I don't feel like it should be flown, especially in that context.
Along the way, the KKK started using it, which was terrible. They could have at least made up their own flag, like stop tracking other people down with you. So, I mean, yes, it can be flown because freedom, you can do what you want, but not for what it represents.
A lot of people that usually have the flag or whatever are people that say, you know, a lot of racist comments. That's what I've experienced. To put it short, I don't really see anything patriotic about it.
My view on it is probably, well, if it doesn't affect me enough, I'm not going to do a lot to change it. That goes the same with seeing a swastika and having some Jewish descent in me thinking, should they have the right to wear that around if it's offensive to millions of Jews? And I think that they do have the right to do that. That's not my choice to make for them. But I think as long as we teach our children what it represents, because people need to know that. You need to learn from history and know that there was a bad time when our country did and acted and performed in ways that we're not proud of. Well, I think it was a lot of misinformation back then too. And I think it was two different sides fighting for two things that they believed in. I don't think that the South was necessarily fighting just to keep slaves. They were fighting to keep the North off their asses. I think that they should be proud for what their ancestors fought in either way. It was oppressive and horrible and awful. That may be one of my grandfathers. To say that I would be proud of that? No. And would I fly the flag to say, oh, he fought and killed slaves? No. But I think that it bears a significant part of our history, and we should, whether it be in a good light or a bad light, show that. Otherwise we won't learn from that, and those mistakes will be repeated in the future.